So I do have to start this video by first apologizing to Mr. Brendan Fraser because, look, it's not like he's ever been one of my least favorite actors or anything like that. If you've ever seen the movie Looney Tunes Back in Action, I think that movie is goated, one of my all-time favorite movies. I'm a big fan of The Mummy 1, The Mummy 3 with Jet Li. I think that movie's pretty cool. Mummy 2, don't want to talk about The Mummy 2. It's not Brendan Fraser's fault, but just don't like to talk about The Mummy 2. Journey to the Center of the Earth, things like that. But then in the year 2010, there was a movie that came out by the title of Furry Vengeance, starring Brendan Fraser, and yeah, ever since that movie came out, I had a huge vendetta against Brendan Fraser and vowed never to see anything starring him again because he confirmed not only my dislike of animals and my fear of animals, but just my fear of just atrocious Hollywood films. And that, honestly, that was a movie that I just really can't stand to this day. Absolutely hate everything about Furry Vengeance. I hate that its existence. I hate that I can't erase the existence of that film from my mind. It's always going to be stuck there. I just had the most unpleasant time with it. And honestly, like, I just had a hatred for Brendan Fraser for a very long time, and it was unjustified because, like I said, Looney Tunes is goated, and I just shouldn't have hated Brendan Fraser that much, and it sucks that it took a performance this strong and immaculate to change my complete mind on everything like that. But please, I'm saying all that to say, Mr. Fraser, please, if you ever do see this, please don't make me cry like that again in any film ever, because I have never cried so much in a movie in my life, except for Spider-Man 2 when I was a kid. Yes, I cried at Spider-Man 2 when I was a kid. It's all right. For you guys, you may think that's weird. For me, I think that made me think from a very young age I knew what cinema was, and it was beautiful. It was Spider-Man 2. But Mr. Fraser, please don't make me cry like that again. But ladies and gentlemen, look, I'm saying all of that to say, crying in a good way, by the way. Not crying because I wanted to leave it, just be out of the theater already, but crying in a beautiful, beautiful way. Please don't make me do that again because I don't know. I don't know if I can feel that much emotion in a movie again like that. That was heavy. I'm saying all that to say, ladies and gentlemen, and Mr. Fraser, this is The Whale. Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and look, this is my review for The Whale, starring Brendan Fraser, Sadie Sink, Hong Chow, Ty Simpkins, and was directed by Darren Aronofsky. And our story follows Brendan Fraser playing a very obese man by the name of Charlie, who is a quote-unquote whale. He stays in the house all the time. He's just too big to really go outside. He's ashamed of himself. He's ashamed of his, presence or the way he looks. He just doesn't think people want to see him, so he stays cooped up inside. And we are following the events of basically his last week on Earth, because literally from the beginning of the movie, you find out that he's dying. He has a week to live, and this is basically him getting his affairs in order and building or trying to rekindle what relationships he has, trying to make something of his life before he dies. And honestly, guys, this is one of the most heartbreaking stories I've ever seen in my life, man. Like, people said Manchester by the Sea was sad, which I did see Manchester by the Sea, but no. This movie makes Manchester by the Sea look like a Nancy Meyers film, because oh my gosh, like, and honestly, I'm not even saying all that to say like this movie was just completely depressing, because it's not. It's really a very beautiful tale by the end of it. But throughout this film, you are feeling so many different emotions, so many different words, variations of the word sad, and honestly, it's like this movie is just incredibly beautiful. So I'm gonna get to what I liked about the film here, because I'm gonna go on a crazy rant probably, because this was an experience, guys. This was incredible. So of course I have to start with the man who I believe is the reason everybody is seeing this movie in the first place, and that's Brendan Fraser, ladies and gentlemen. Not only is this the most incredible performance of his career, obviously, but I mean, this is one of the best performances I've seen from a man or from an actor, actress, actor in general in the year of 2022. I know we're in the year of 2023, but this movie came out in 2022. It's going to be nominated for 2022 awards, and any and every award that this man can get nominated for, I believe he deserves to not only be nominated but win, because I have been absolutely blown away by this performance here. I mean, this is one of the deepest, darkest places an actor probably had to go in order to pull out what was pulled off on screen in this movie here. I'm not necessarily sure if he had to gain a majority of that weight and the rest of it's a fat suit. I didn't really look up the details. Please let me know in the comments below. I'm probably going to look it up after I do this video anyway, because I do really need to know how he was able to pull that off. But look, this tale itself, I mean, it's going to so many dark places. I mean, first of all, the story and the message itself in the film, there's multiple, but the main message itself is portrayed brilliantly by Darren Aronofsky, mainly because the way this film starts, you are absolutely like just grossed out, and you're quote unquote disgusted, as Charlie would say in the film. You're disgusted by what you see, and honestly, it's supposed to be that way. I mean, I'll say this, guys. The first 15 to maybe 20 minutes of this film is so hard for me to watch. Like, I gotta be honest here. I could barely look at the screen at what I was seeing, and it's not even like anything like completely disgusting. It's just Brendan Fraser himself, Charlie the whale. It's the most Darren Aronofsky literally, and it's, don't get me wrong, it's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be Darren Aronofsky is depicting him this sort of way as an absolute monster. He's doing it for a reason, because it's all about first impressions and how we look at people on daily lives and make just absolute assumptions just based off first impressions. We don't even get to know them. We don't even get to, figure out like who they actually are under all that, because we just look at them and just see a complete monster. And that's how Darren Aronofsky portrays Charlie in the beginning. The first 15 or 20 minutes, you're watching this dude. First of all, you're watching him do things that we probably like at this point, like when you're watching him, I could say okay, let me get my words together. We are watching him do things that we quote unquote take for granted, like just being able to pick things up off shelves, pick things up off the ground, move around in our homes. I mean, to this guy, all of that is like big objectives. Like, it's really hard for him to do, and we're watching that for the first 15 to 20 minutes, him do regular things that just are just so hard to do. We have to see him try to stand up. Like, it's like once you see him stand up, it gets even worse. Like, our first viewing of him is him on the couch, and that's just hard to see. And honestly, before that, he's an English professor. He teaches classes online. His students don't even see him because he's telling him that his camera's broken, and he just never gets it fixed. But the real reason is because he keeps it off, because he doesn't want anybody to see what he looks like. He's ashamed of his appearance, and I can honestly relate so much to that like feeling, and that because I used to be like 260 pounds after like my freshman year of college and things like that. Clearly I lost the weight, but I mean, I used to be 260 pounds, and everything that Charlie felt, every emotion, every way that this man was displaying his emotion on screen, I could recall from when I was bigger. Of course I wasn't nearly as big as he was, but I felt everything that he did, and it just hit home for me personally. Like, it hit a place that I didn't think would ever be reached on screen. I didn't think anything on screen could resonate with me as deep as it did in this film. But Aronofsky spends a very good portion of the beginning of the film trying to depict Charlie in a way that kind of makes you grossed out, because because they want you to see like what you would see off first impressions before he introduces you to the actual kind-hearted soul that Charlie is. Before he actually shows you his personality, he's just showing you physical features that would just completely gross you out. I mean, watching this guy eat a bucket of chicken is the grossest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, it just makes me feel so bad for him. At the same time, it's just like, I can't watch this guy just eat his life away. And the thing about it is, he's literally not wanting help. He doesn't go to hospitals. He doesn't want any like doctors or anything like that. He's not paying for any special beds at home. He's just living his life, doing whatever just doing his everyday thing, which is just sitting at home eating his life away. And it's really so sad to see. But Aronofsky is doing a very great job of portraying this. And now, honestly, another thing I have to give credit for Aronofsky for doing is every character in this film plays a very pivotal part, man. Like even the delivery guy that literally comes up to Charlie's home, and the delivery guy doesn't know what Charlie looks like at all. He's just always, talking to him through the door. Charlie leaves him a 20 in the mailbox or whatever. He leaves the pizza on the step, and that's the only conversation he gets. After a while, the delivery guy even gets curious as to like wanting to know who he's delivering pizza to. Like, he can at least has a conversation with the guy. And once the delivery guy sees him, that face that he makes, you got to see the movie to know the face I'm talking about. That like literally depicts everything, all of Charlie's fears. But we're not really spending the entirety of the movie feeling bad for Charlie, because like I said, one, he's a very beautiful soul. He's a very kind guy, but he's not a guy without his faults. And that's where Sadie Sink's character comes into play. That's his daughter. Sadie Sink gives a very phenomenal performance in this movie as well. She allows us to see a side of where somebody actually hates him, and she doesn't hate him due to his size or anything. She even says in the movie, it doesn't matter what size you are, you'll always be a piece of shit to me. And she's brutally honest, like, because that's her dad, and they have their little relationship that happened in the past, something that happened between them that really is a driving force in the movie. He's trying to rekindle his relationship with his daughter and make things right before it's all said and done, and it all leads up to one of the most beautiful endings I've ever seen, ladies and gentlemen. It's like, even thinking about it right now got me almost tearing up. Like, literally, as I was writing my notes for this film and getting my thoughts together before I recorded this thing, I was literally tearing up thinking about this ending. A movie has not moved me like this since, like I said, moved me to tears like this since Spider-Man 2. Like, I'm literally ducking down in my seat trying to like wipe my tears away, like literally trying to get them to stop. It got past like the last 15 to 20 minutes of this film. I'd say like maybe the last 15 minutes of this film. It got past the point of like me fighting back tears. At this point, I'm literally trying to just stop like wiping them away. Like it got insane, and my theater was pretty decently crowded, and so I'm wondering if other people are crying at the same thing I am, or if it's just me by myself. Then I hear everybody else is sniffling and things like that, and then I'm like, and then once the credits roll, I'm hearing everybody talking about how they gotta wipe their tears and stuff. So it's a good thing I didn't feel alone, because this movie had me bawling by the end of it. It was one of the most beautiful endings I've ever seen in my life, truly. Like, I'm not exaggerating that. Like, I understand, there's a lot of like huge events people cry at, Tony Stark's death, and I did shed some tears for that one. I cried more when Tom Holland died, I can't lie, in Infinity War. I cried more for that. But a movie has never brought me to tears, and I'm not talking, and it's not sad, it's not really depressing, it's beautiful. It's a very beautiful ending, and it's one that literally I literally wanted to stand up and clap for, but I had to make sure I wasn't the only one crying before I did. I was making a fool out of myself. But look, even Hung Chow, everybody in this movie, Hung Chow, Ty Simpkins, they all give immaculate, incredible performances, and they all play a pivotal role in the film, showing different sides of this man's life and showing like different perspectives. Like Hung Chow's her friend. Hung Chow plays Charlie's friend, and throughout the film, she needs him to go to the hospital. It's crazy about that relationship, because as much as she was pushing for him to go to the hospital and things like that, she would get him things like double meatball subs and things like that. And I'm just like, lady, you're literally not helping the cause at all. You're just feeding it. You're just adding to the problem here. But I rest my case there. But like I said, you get to see different perspectives and different things throughout his life. Like I said, Sadie Sink plays the strongest part of his life in this film, because she's his daughter. It's the strongest part of the film. It's the driving point of the film. And overall, guys, look, this is just one of the most incredible performances I've seen from an actor in a very long time. I mean, this man, Brendan Fraser, put his all out there on the line. He did everything he needed to make his point here. Darren Aronofsky did an absolutely ridiculously great job at directing this film and making his case and point throughout the film as well. I mean, like, seeing this man, and it's crazy because leaving the theater, I'm watching this one kid literally say, dude, I could barely look at the screen half of the time. And I'm like, yeah, I feel you there, bro. But it's like, at the same time, Charlie is a very beautiful soul, and it's about us having to look beyond just first appearances. It's like this film is such a testament to how kind people can be and how terrible people can be, and it's really about just honestly a lesson that Charlie's trying to teach as well, that I thought was very beautiful, is all this bullshit that people are putting into our lives, making us do routines on a daily. Let's just be honest with one another. He was, like I said, he's an English professor, and he was telling people, or telling his students, that let's stop just following curriculum, right? Give me something honest to write. And honestly, the entire movie just has incredibly beautiful messages, an overall beautiful story, beautiful film, beautiful acting. This movie is literally beauty in the sense of the word. It's beautiful. It's amazing. I'm ranting at this point, guys, but for all those reasons and so many more, I'm going to give The Whale a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Look, The Whale, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Please let me know in the comments below. If anybody knows how Brendan Fraser pulled off that I'm not sure if it's a fat suit, so I don't want to disrespect it. But if he did put on the weight, that's some Christian Bale dedication there. But at this point, you've gone beyond Christian Bale dedication. That's Brendan Fraser dedication at this point. That's going to be its own thing after this performance. But look, let me know in the comments below how he did that. If you know, if you don't, let me know if you saw the movie and if you liked it and if you cried just as much as I did. Because I'm gonna be like, I'm not ashamed. I am not ashamed to say I cried at the end of this movie. Like it was bad. Like I cried a lot. Like this thing was so good, but it's a beautiful story. Like I keep saying. But thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and so much more. Be sure to share as well. Thank you so much for watching. This is your guy in the chair. More content coming to you soon.